using the fact that, you know, Fracture is a weird map and taking that to their advantage. G2 Gozen's comp, though, this is the third switch up in compositions that they've had. Akita going over to the Waylay, and Mimi's Phoenix. I think Mimi is incredible. Her Phoenix is exciting, but it's not necessarily been incredible. And I don't know if I like this comp switch.
I like it because I'm a big fan of the Anarchy, but what I will say is it's risky business switching comp so late into the tournament, and this is the chance for grand finals. Yes, there's a lower bracket if it doesn't work out, right? But this is the chance for grand finals. You're already a map down. You go into your opponent's map pick. And maybe the plan is, because we're actually just about to bring it up, how they've started learning each other's patterns, how they've started countering each other, how they've started to be so in tune with how the other plays, that maybe this comp switch up will be the difference maker. Now they played a little bit differently. They tried pulling curveballs out and hope that they can get ahead of Gentlemates before they can sort of keep up and catch up.
Both of these teams have some of the best coaching staffs that we have in Game Changers. That is just a fact at this point. I think they're up there with teams like SK. And G2 know that. G2 know that Gentlemates' coaches will be anti-stratting, will be doing whatever they can to work out what G2's game plan is and how to play against it. This comp switch up ruins all of that prep. And we don't know how much prep went into it for Gentlemates, but they must have known they were picking this map. So now, as they start on the attack side, they are heading into the unknown. G2 are taking that B main control. But mates, they're spread across the entire map, and Berryx is holding it for Mimi.
First pick goes the way of Gentlemates. Orb secured. Amy's going to hear all of this, and you can see how quickly Vanya's trying to rotate on over. Smokes come on out, but so much util thrown into Generator to stop them peeking. Berryx, so much base taken. Akita, though, punishes Toka here, importantly. Spike goes down, and actually Vanya with another pick. Tides are starting to turn a little bit here.
Yeah, they still know Akito's underneath. They've got to be really careful for this as the smokes drop. This is G2's chance to get the retake on.
Akita slowly but surely, but you can't be playing slowly right now. You just don't have the time. Wen's holding specifically for this, but drawn away attention, and Crosshair drifting with all the noise. Marty needed to make a final stand. One more. 1 versus 2.
Flash out.
Flash goes on out, there's the first, but it's being stuck. Are they aware of this? Tap on through, Akita comes off of the defuse and finds the pick. That's exactly what they needed to keep themselves going. And G2, pistol round queens, there's one more for the stats.
Yeah, despite Mimi walking into Berryx's crosshairs right at the beginning. Oh, Marty, a little bit more patience with that ghost, and maybe that went the other way, but instead G2 on the defense. They're going to be able to buy up this Outlaw, and Akita on Waylay. This is something I've missed. I don't think we've seen her Waylay at all this stage, if I'm remembering right. And the fact we get her back onto this, it makes me incredibly excited. She's already in the right place to catch Berry. Yeah, there we go. There's 2.
One enemy remaining.
And Eva with 2 of her own. And now just Marty, always just Marty. But that one was maybe a little bit of a difficult situation for her individually, but now on all cylinders.
I mean, she's almost got this Rolling Thunder online as well. She dies this round, which is, let's be honest, very likely to happen. She gets that for that round 3 if Gentlemates feel like they need it into the anti-bonus. Amy, surely, you know, does fall Rolling Thunder online. I kind of want to say use it in the 1v3. Is that throwing?
I would say that it was maybe unwise, but I would say that it'd be fun. And to be honest, with the spike going down, not beyond the realms of possibility, but she's been penned in here. And before she could even consider it, she's already been taken down. But given what they came into this round with, I think pretty exciting stuff. And we're already seeing this get intense.
I mean, Akita's happy. 6-0, the double kill with the Outlaw at the beginning. She's going to be feeling very good with that. And Convergent Paths online. Obviously, Fracture, 4 ult orbs across the map. We're going to be seeing a lot of these big, powerful ults cycling up super quick. And G2, they've got their own to counter the Rolling Thunder. The Convergent Path's great. when you're on those lower weapons to try and push back in, whether it's for the retake or if they're going nice and aggressive with it. Doesn't look like aggro for them to start with. His Gentlemates, they're heading over towards B. Trips on north and south just to make sure that any push through flanks from G2 are being watched. And Mimi, she's going aggressive.
Very X around the side. Mimi, the legendary flashes, but she has to just fall back. But unfortunately, the stun's thrown her way. There will be no escape. And Berry X, well, when has she ever been deterred by a smoke? Rolling Thunder comes on out, and that's going to allow them to flood onto the site. Damn breaks, and now they have the spike going down.
And G2 are going underneath. They're going to try and catch Wenz off guard.
Wenz, though, this time caught off guard once, ready for the first spots out. Vanya as well. The one way, it's about to fade, and all just about able to dash back on across to the right-hand side. But Wenz has done her job masterfully, and now Marty pushes on round, knows that Vanya's still here, takes her down, traps them on in. Nami's found one of her own, now just Amy left. They know where she is. Picked up a weapon, but that's not long-lived. And there we go, Gentlemates, first round on the board, this time earlier, this time keeping G2 humble and soon.
But they invested the Rolling Thunder into that round when G2, they knew that the weapons weren't great, but they remembered what happens when G2 gets online, when they get their momentum rolling. So they felt like they had to invest it, and now Marty's a long way from the next. No ultimates really to speak of for mates, but G2, well, they are cycling all of them up now.
Big, powerful burst. Imminent for them. Now creeping up, down, B long. Trip for the flank, and always a good thing. We talked about G2 loving to get aggressive with it. Prowler coming on through, but this is the issue. Mimi being pushed so heavily, and the issue is push back, and she has to run through the Teo missile to even find safety. Neural Theft comes on out here. And one person, a solo ult there, Paul Wenz. The cage comes through just to try keep herself alive. Vanya finds Wenz eventually. Akita pushing on forward. Mimi still in tower. And unfortunately, Gentlemates just systematically pulled apart here. And Berry X on the other side of the map. 3 plants at least.
Yeah, she's going to get the spike down. G2 here realized that the Neon had escaped with that spike. And she positions aggressive. She's going to try and find 1 or 2 and then back off to play the clutch.
Hear all of these footsteps just waiting, but they're not coming her way. Oh, the Prowler just at the last second runs on forward. Usually not one to run towards danger, but had to do something. And G2, not even really much of a retake needed. The early round just so good. And there we go, seeing Ever get the defuse. Nightfall's online and available at their fingertips as they head into the 5th.
Run it back as well. A lot of tools here for G2 to keep the momentum now. They allowed mates to get their anti-bonus. That's fine, but now the mates don't have incredible money. They can just about buy up most of their members. Nami.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
No, just going to look to buy for next. Not wanting to invest too heavily. Hoping that they can pull some of G2's ultimates out. That's the key thing. If they can get them out this round, that opens up the rest of this half for mates.
Bring them down.
Prowler goes on through, clearing out A main. Nothing to be heard there. That's a huge amount of information, a huge position
Right back.
to have just being held by one player. But actually, mates looking, holding on just in case they're getting pushed. They're so wary of G2's behavioral patterns. Hasn't stopped them yet. Now we head in towards, well, one of the 2 sides of spawn. Looked like there was going to be a bit of a battle there between Wenz and Akita, but no, both fall away. Heading on in, Wenz making a little bit of noise over towards Dish, and that's the first that they've heard. But Mimi's heard so much information that no one's being fooled. Toka's the actual first pick to be found. Flash is dodged. Amy manages to get onto site, checking the camera. Nobody's pushed through the smokes just yet. Has a trip just in case. Mimi to re-clear on through Arcade. Silent drop down. Marty Actually, there's a little bit of a crossfire established here. Walk into it. Not going to be able to find either. Berry X gets one, gets traded on out there. Toka 2 trying desperately. Akita gets a little bit ahead of herself, gets punished here. You know that Vanya's here as well, tapping around the corner. A lot of damage done. There's the kill confirmed. And just Amy, Gentlemates. Oh, they've just about got time. That almost got scary. Spike had been any further away, they might have had an issue, but no. Gentlemates, queens of stabilising a bad situation. Queens of righting the wrongs of early round.
Really able to bring it back. G2 was split across the map because of the aggression in that early round from Gentlemates. 2 on each site. You can't support the other. And as Mimi went exploring and got taken down, the players over towards A were forced to do the same towards A main, and Gentlemates were waiting with open arms to take them out. And now, despite the ult advantages that G2 had going into the round, they didn't use either of them. And now they've given the opportunity for Gentlemates to get their own up. I want to see what G2 have planned for this run it back. Do they have some cool set strategy, right? We've seen a couple of nice walls from Mimi already. We've seen her flashes around corners. We know she's good at that. How are we really taking advantage of this Phoenix for G2? That's the biggest question mark for me.
I think you're right there. Something I also want to highlight is that we wanted to see G2 with these big flashy starts to the half. And that's the reason that the scoreline was as close as it was over there on Breeze, is because they got a really good start. Now they've not been allowed to run away with it. Now they've been kept humble from the get-go. Is that if Gentlemates can close this up already, we start to worry about the longevity of G2 on this map. Berry X round the corner has been taking so much space and taking names in the midst of it as well. Wen's waiting, always just applying pressure, not letting them have this A main control, at least not without concern.
She spotted the operator there from Akita, worried about it. The rest of Gentlemates, though, heading up towards Dish, towards A. Eva is watching, and Akita's in A main. And the rest of G2 are coming on over. They know what the call is from Gentlemates. How do they deal with this op in A main? Because G2's holding it down.
Nightfall comes on out. Overdrive popped already ahead of it. Oh, long range going for the stuns. And if Amy doesn't tuck her out, then Mimi was round the corner waiting. Run it back, immediately invested. Finds nothing but a face full of lead. Akita smoked on off with the op. Hoping for anything. Little drone comes on through, not going to be able to catch anything, but Akita gets one. That's Nami, gets her into sand, allows them to get into a position to apply pressure on this. Armageddon, though, available, and it's going face first into G2. Immediately having to reposition, having to head over in towards A main instead. And here we go, creeping on through. Toka, very worried, knows that they could be there. Jumping on up, there's the first isolated fight. And Akita still with the op in hand. Cumbersome to wield. And there you have it, Marty, beautifully done. Gentlemates tie up the scoreboard early. And G2, it seems that they can't get these rounds over the line. The starts are good, the mid rounds are good, but the end round, it's just falling apart.
Gentlemates are so good in these low-numbered scenarios. So many times you see the perfect, exact right call be made, and the players executing it to perfection. That's the key with Gentlemates. Making the least mistakes possible. And now they've got their ultimate cycle back online. G2 down to an eco. As Gentlemates rolling Thunder coming on next. Orbital Strike online. Probably don't want to be using it this round. Do they expect G2 pushing this aggressive, this early? Yeah, Toka's going to spot it.
About to find out, yeah. There's the first. 2 players spotted. Third hasn't been, but they're clearing the corner potentially anyway. No, actually, Toka holds the missile fire. As her teammates creeping up, down long. Now the trip's going to give away the game, but if they can punish here, if they can whittle the numbers before they even hit another site. And this util, they're just holding on to it. They haven't even needed it. G2's been so passive, been so scared to push into them. Spike's getting tapped. Now there's still a player tower unaccounted for.
With a shorty as well.
With a shorty, and we know how that's gone in this series so far. but nobody is pushing into her. Rolling Thunder comes on out. That gives them a huge buffer to work with. Berry X swings round. Akita, lovely shot there. Vanya, one of her own. They are the eco queens. Wen's now so much more emphasis put on her position. Toka's low health here. Mori comes on out. Burns to a crisp in an instant. And now it's all on Wen's. Swings on out. Akita finds the pick. And this time, G2 do have it. And it's going to be an Emoda Thrifty coming on through as they defuse, as they get back in the lead, and this was an important round for them to find.
Gentlemates invested ultimates into that round. They invested guns. G2 had absolutely nothing. They even started this down in numbers. But G2 with Sheriffs will just reign supreme. The Molly getting involved too from Vanya.
That goes there.
You've got to play so disciplined. And if Gentlemates make mistakes like that, they will lose rounds. They could lose this map. They need to be disciplined, working together, not allowing G2 to get in there. But they've got the convergent paths, the orbital strike. Big pieces here for G2 to continue this streak.
I think important there as well, we see the Mori go out, denies Berry X taking the space too quickly, stops them flooding too soon. Actually, it's forced them right back, re-evaluating the plan here. Vanya round the corner. Second and breathing. There's the first contact. Stim to try and get out of dodge. Ever's hanging around long enough to throw the tether, trying to hold them into the orbital strike, and actually catches a teammate instead. And that's a little bit of a problem. Well, not really. I mean, they've still got a two-player advantage. But you won't ever be allowed to forget that.
No, I mean, that was ever just walking into it, but G2 have now won this round. They've got the spike under their control. They can't risk taking those ropes because they know Mimi's probably pushed out of B, as she often does. So now for mates, yeah, build up ult orbs. Marty trying to get the Rolling Thunder online as soon as possible. She's thrown it in 2 rounds where it probably wasn't necessary. And now Mimi's watching them.
Like a hawk, but they know that she's there. Berry X on the corner. Marty jump on up. We talked about the walls, just buying herself the space to reposition, denying them more ult points, denying them more credits. Flash goes over, again, just buffering and buffering and keeping them trapped and pinted here. And actually, team might coalesce to try swing them here. Mimi, another flash around the corner. Repeat, the drop on down to be spotted, knows that both are there. Fault line coming on out just to try to deter Mimi. Timer's over and Mimi now goes hunting. All of this stall just to push anyway, but amounts to nothing.
G2 with the ultimates, with the nice little C's combo there as well from Eva, who does fall, but that's fine. We don't mind that happening. I think there might have been the Waylay stun on her as well, the saturate. Maybe. She seemed to be moving slow, but regardless, gentlemates, they now need a pause. As we look at these two teams, we look at how powerful their controller players are. Nami and Vanya on top so consistently. We saw it in the previous, but actually on this map, it's not happening as much. We don't see it. But if we talk about Breeze, I mean, they were both so good on that map there.
Oh, just stellar stuff there. And I think it's been quite interesting to see. Vanya has been one of those players that we've sung about being at the very top and maybe hasn't been her, all-time career peak. There's been people coming for her throne, but by no means has she been bad. And she's also been contributing a lot in the team comms, in that secondary calling kind of role, if I'm not mistaken. And to be able to still put up numbers while being able to sort of add that input. And it's also given Mimi a lot of chance, maybe not necessarily as shown in this map right now, but Mimi with the assistant coach being brought on, with that little bit of help with some of the secondary calling, she's been allowed to be unleashed a little bit more as a player, which, I mean, has got to be freeing.
It's got to feel good, right? You're able to finally compete as a player, which is what you wanted to do from the beginning. She's got such a long and storied career, both in G2 and previous games before. And now, mates, toying with Mimi a little bit, but Akita's in the right place at the right time as, yeah, G2 back off. You can see the stim just to get out of dodge as quick as possible. And mates are going to continue their push towards A. They got spotted, but it's only the Cypher setup, and it's not kill trips.
That is very true. Toka, so much information already backside. Mimi pushing for that information is going to deal with the extremity player. That's one less bit of firepower that Gentlemates have going into the late round. And with the slower they play, the more time they allow G2 to set up and get ready for this. But no, Spike's moving away again.
They ran out of time. The smokes were there, dropped in time, but they realized G2 had made it. Oh, VALORANT's trying to jump over it. It's been spotted as an insert, so mates have to exit here now.
No choice, and there's no way to get VALORANT out safely without the rest of the team joining the fray. And that feels bad because Nami's just cleared all of B, but if she can time this flank, if the team on site can hold out long enough, it could be incredibly potent. The issue is it's coming through very slowly. Might just get the timing on Mimi. And now trapped in the middle, trapped in limbo is this G2 defense trying to retake. But the pressure from the front and the back, the smoke for main gives them a little bit of brevity. But Nami swings out, traded out instantly. Berry X being heard, just tapped at the edge of that molly. But they're just looking to defuse. Running on through, they hear that it's been half the swing. And they line up for Berry X. And this is what we talk about. Closing out maps and closing out gaps in the scoreboard.
Getting so close to tying this back up again. G2 are going to be able to invest back in. But Gentlemates aren't going to be scared after that. Feeling confident in their individuals once again. Akita is frying this map, but Gentlemates are trying to bring this back in as much as possible. I love Nami going for that super late look. You can see Mimi was aware of it, but she just bought enough time for Berry X there to get in there.
The roller
Now,
coaster.
whoa, big fight to start with. And Mimi gets 3. That was the run it back. She's still alive.
And that's diabolical. That's got to hurt. That you get 3 kills, 3 players taken off, and you find nothing in response. Just Wen's here now. Has managed to get up into tower, but Spike is being guarded. Mimi's tucked so deep in there. She gets her 4th. It's stunning. And G2 starting to find a little bit of momentum, but harken back to map when we talked about it. A good half isn't good enough against Gentlemates here, especially when they get to go onto their favored side next. We want to see them win out these last 2 rounds. Make it a statement. Make it a statement like Mimi just made.
It is a statement and a half as well. The IGL heard us saying that maybe she wasn't popping off in the ways that we've seen from her before. Oh, and she's going to bring it out where possible. Now, Gentlemates, down to an eco. 2 ults online. We've seen them invest these ults into these ecos and found nothing from it. We don't want to see that happening again. Armor getting very close. A 7-5 half is potentially where we're going to see this, and we saw what happened on Breeze with that. G2 need to win at this round. Stop Gentlemates from making this an okay half for themselves.
And over towards B, a game where this map has been fluid, it's been dynamic. And now both sides of B swarming with enemies. Amy, going to be the first line of defense.
And Vanya's stuck up in heaven completely alone. She's got a shotgun.
Never truly alone, but she's been spotted out immediately. The molly just to try stay safe. But they've even invested the orbital strike. But she lives to tell. No, she doesn't live. She tried. Berry X falls. Wens finds hers now. 3 versus 5. Spike goes down. Weapons picked on up there. Mimi looking the wrong way. Caught on out by the classic. Another gun in hand. And Akita. That cage actually might be a blessing in disguise. Allows her to escape. Keep these weapons on over into the next. Deny any more ult points. Because Toka's one away. Wenz is one away. And, wow, Berry X not too far off herself.
This is a brilliant round from Gentlemates. I've not liked the investment of ultimates into the thrifties so far, but that was beautiful. Okay, Vanya, bullied. Yes. That sucks for her, but Gentlemates really took advantage of that situation. They knew she was stuck there and alone. And the shotgun, you don't want to be pushing into it. So the Emoda Thrifty comes through for Gentlemates. And they are looking like they might be able to end this at an even half, which it seemed impossible earlier on.
It is even half. It's not enough for G2's my worry. But I mean, I was rooting for Vanya there so much. They stun her on up. She puts in the molly to try leave. They invest the orbital strike. She gets out of there. And then she gets taken down by Barracks. It's an unfortunate situation.
This goes here.
Guns in hands, albeit not the greatest arsenal in the world here for G2 to work with in the last round of the half. Akita hugging the door here, Rolling Thunder invested, pushes Akita off. She's not being spotted, however. Toka's got an eye on it. Armageddon's ready. Ever's been spotted again, but they're not quite sure how populated Sand actually is here. Armageddon comes through. That's going to be a huge problem. Akita, risky play gets punished. Toka gets one, Wenz gets one, and it all comes collapsing down. And Toka's going to spot Amy here as well, even suppressed. Nami finds her pick, and Amy, they know exactly where she is, and there's no reason to stop it. Spike's gone down. You might as well get this over and done with. The sooner the better. And we're going to close out even Steven 6-6 half.
Switching sides.
Make peace with yourself before you pull the trigger. No one else is just you.
G2 Queens of Pistols, and what they're going to need right now is a pistol round to set themselves apart, because lest we harken back how quickly mates got those ultimates online over in the first half.
Those ults were so powerful. Not necessarily the ults themselves winning the rounds, but the threat of them.
Yes.
And the space that it cleared allowed Gentlemates to try and get as many rounds as they could before G2 got into their streak. And then come back in the end with that kill, or the couple of kills coming off the back of Toka's Armageddon. Now, as we switch sides, Gentlemates' defense hasn't been as good as their attack, both on this map and overall, but their understanding of the macro here is perfection. G2's previously had really good reads into how mates like to play this, with the push through flanks, with the quick clears. And look at Berriex already under. Did G2 expect this?
Surely not, but she's been taking so much space, and they have spotted her on out, and that makes her position a little bit compromised. Falls back though, but G2 haven't made too much of a move on forward here.
Contacting silently. This makes Gentlemates doubt what's happening.
Akita, just about misses tower, grabs the rope, climbs herself on up. Ooh, Toka's got to get those missiles off quickly, burning alive in the edge. Berriex finds her first. Vanya, however, going to take her teammate down as comeuppance. Marty swings on out, finds one. That's the spike drop, but no kills going untraded right now. Keeping the numbers even. Akita, oh, low HP. Could have been messy, but inaccurate on the ropes, and that will allow them to get away. But Amy finds the difference maker. No, Berriex, back-to-back kills. 2 versus 1 here. Amy, camera goes out, immediately broken, flashed on through, and Marty isolated has allowed Berriex to wrap around, and they don't expect her. They never expect her. And mates, they take the pistol, something we've harkened about being G2 strength, harkened about being something they're relying on right now, and that's snatched away from under them.
And now this is the overdrive coming online very soon as well. Expect this in round 3. at the very least.
That's crazy.
The rest of the mates weren't able to build up their own ultimates. That's the one shining light here for G2. But mates now have a buy up. It's not incredible guns, no rifles online. So it's a little bit risky. If G2 can close this gap on their attack side, making a lot of noise over towards A, but the spike's still at B.
Spike is still over at B for now. And the rest of the team seems to be joining on over there. Turns going on out. We talked a little bit about how Berry X felt unsupported over on Breeze in her initial pushes, especially on the defense side. This time we're seeing the drones come through to assist her, and I'm liking that a little bit more. Amy almost caught on the zip line there.
It's risky taking that in the middle of the round, but hey, why not sometimes, eh? And now, Gentlemates push through flanks galore. They're going for it already. But Ever's found sight. Oh, Toka was hearing it ready. And the rest of G2 silent for so long. Heading over towards B.
Tripwire is going to be a little bit of a problem. Gets broken. There's the pound. Smokes immediately come out. Wens isn't looking to respect them, however, tucking on in. Peek on out. Actually, she's not going to peek on out. She's going to get peeked and taking names there. Can hear the reloads. And there's another one. Why are they running into a smoke? Face first, and G2 looking for safe haven in the arms of the enemy.
And that's a flawless. It did not look like it should be. G2 managed to default around the map, get the ult orb, so Mimi's got that run it back online. And mates are taking their sweet time. They're happy to. A flawless coming on in. And yeah, sure, no big ultimates on board, but they're incredibly happy keeping all of these weapons and showing G2 that they can win a 5v5 retake absolutely no problem. And now as we look into the next, Berry X, this is a risky buy, but we've seen mates do this a couple of times already. The Operator coming into the third round of the half as we come into a little bit of a tech pause. And I'm looking at Mimi here. This run it back online. Are they going to use this for a fake, or are they going to use this for the real exec? Because one thing we've seen a lot from Phoenix is popping their run it back, hard execing with some kind of long range utility, which, okay, maybe we are lacking a little bit from G2, that long range util like a Breach or a Teho or a Sova, but they've got the fade. Maybe sending a fade eye, sending Mimi in all alone with the run it back, whilst trying to contact up the other side of the map. This is something G2 were doing in their previous composition a lot. Sending in Akita alone into a site to then try and contact push their way up into the opposite side, because they know that mates are pushed through flanking on north or south. It opens that space for them. But mates also might have now got the read that that's what G2 have been doing, so maybe they have to double bluff this. It becomes such a nice mind game between them.
And I like, this is what happens when we get to this stage in the competition, right? Is that teams have played each other. Everything is a rematch from here on out. Everything is a game that they've at least played in the group stage. And when we head down to the lower bracket later, we'll start being able to see rematches potentially of games we've even seen in the playoffs. So we're starting to see this storyline narrative build up. And it seems like Gentlemates have just been building a system that makes them so adaptable, so versatile, and able to adapt in the moment. And look at that little backward slide across the zip line. Absolute style points there.
I think she was a bit scared about a push out of dish, but now Mimi pushing in, aggression. This isn't a fake.
This is far from. Nami takes down the run it back, and Wens finds another. Vanya there to fill the gap a little bit, makes this a 4 versus 4. They need to take this tower control. Wens holding on to it for dear life. Mimi swings on out. Overshot gets one more though. And that does keep us even on the players left in this round. Toka holding from tower, knows they've managed to get up in there, but knows that the sites where she's holding for, they gotta peek back out into her. Amy looking to try and clear the gap a little bit, but Berry X's op rings loud through the echoing halls of Fracture. Spike goes down, but now the reposition, the escape from this little cubby is going to be dangerous. Needs Eva to buy the space, but it's not the op that's taken down. Savannah still having to tuck on in, having to hide. Toka pushing one up. She's ready for it. Vanya finds one. Berry X. Stun goes on into the corner, but knows there's still one tower. Isolates the first fight, gets back, manages to reposition, picks up a Bulldog, only 7 bullets. Round the corner, runs out, switches to the side on. It's so much damage, but running out of time here. Ever on the reposition, it's not planted for this. She's just looking to try stick it, needs to get back on it again, and Ever's been given the time to work. Now no more time available. Berry X hops back on, it's gonna be a matter of milliseconds, and she's got it!
I faced worse.
It's a Red Bull clutch there from Berry X. An absolute nightmare fuel for G2.
How on earth? She went in with the operator, waiting for a mistake from G2, and there wasn't one. G2 even invested their ult. Fates had awful weapons. And they managed to win this out. The utility was
Typical.
brilliant.
Immaculate.
Straight up from Gentlemates.
One enemy
But it
remaining.
came down to Berry X's brilliance on site. That first peak.
Just playing
I'm
the
getting
timer to
so-
its extremities.
And there's
Don't
the
punch the screen.
excitement.
Don't punch the screen. I
Don't
got no
punch-
word
yeah.
about the camera there.
But that was the bonus round, now 1 out for Gentlemates. This is the momentum. And when we're talking about momentum, we are looking at people like Akita and Marty right at the top of the board. Most of the time, Akita was shining in the first half. And the one thing about Marty that I think is most fascinating, that is most impressive for this player from Gentlemates, is her flexibility. We heard that in the interview earlier with Toka. The Marty can be that entry duelist, that first through the door, but she can support Berry X as well on the breach, on the KO. And that flexibility has been so useful for Gentlemates to win so many of these rounds. And now G2 down to an eco. Vanya's orbital strike and the Bucky from Akita, 2 key things to watch. Can they find anything with it? Vanya uses her lineup. You'll usually see her around there towards the start of the round, but Akita's going tower. Gentlemates aren't falling for it.
Not this time. Not at all. And that's unfortunate because that's kind of the ace in their sleeve. Amy finds one, gets traded on out, but 1 for 1 right now. You'll take that. They're not going to allow the weapon to be picked on up here. Trying to deny G2 the ability to spiral these eco rounds like we're no...
Gentlemates no longer have Marty for that long-range utility. And Akita's had B-site this entire round. So the Gentlemates are down for a full 4 versus 4 retake. Picking up the trip as well, actually, from Wen, just to make sure that Eva can't break it. But now Vanya, post-plant, orbital strike. Gentlemates have to go quick.
The longer they drag this out, the more danger they have that orbital strike single piece of util could be the be-all and end-all. And talking of fast, Berry X has taken that quite literally. Overdrive popped. There's the tap, looking to try draw it on out. Actually, just sticking for now, but with Ever finding one. Peek on out, Toka gets another. It's being halved and they're all gathered here in the sphere.
Wait.
There's one, Toka gets one, the peek on out. They just stuck it on through though. And Gentlemates might be the most clutch team in this entire tournament.
They have to be. They got it to half and Vanya was a little bit late to trigger it. Wasn't certain if it had been halved or not already. And Gentlemates took that to their advantage. Despite the kills, the shots coming through for G2 Gozen. They can't win the round. They invested a big, powerful ult into it. Okay, now they can buy up. Now the guns are even. The mates have their guns and G2's fighting. Akita is thirsting for this win.
G2 have been menaces in A main this whole map. And now the question is, what can they do with that control?
Got Spike.
They're leaving Akita here, but Spike's being picked up, headed elsewhere. Berry X is posted up, deep angle here. There's a trip available. No, Berry X has been spotted. She gets the first, she gets out, that's all she needs to do. Worried about this crunch, because they've been crunching down on B a lot. She need not worry, though, because G2 right now, not quite sure what they want to do.
You don't really want to push into Barry X again. Not when she's got this gun. She's rotated over to watch Arcade. While Sakita's making noise all alone. When's his cam will spot that out. Yeah, it's only the Waylay. We don't have to worry. The mates can just stick. They're happy.
Marty moves on over for a second, but all of this has been heard, immediately peeled back, headed into Canteen, establishing, but no, G2, turn heel, pivot, and pirouette over towards A instead, using this anchor position that Akita's been holding onto all round. Head on
They're
to
going to get the
site.
site.
13 seconds, but there's nobody close enough to make that matter too much. No, the Rolling Thunder. That could be a little bit of a problem. Stone goes on in. They need to stop Berry X from denying the plant there. Plant just about goes down. Neural theft, they know where all of them are. That's not exactly the big issue, though. Amazing Molly goes on in, forces the reposition. They now have to wait for it to burn on out, though. But with it being so quick, with it being so decisive, that's hardly even a worry in their minds. That's 11 already. And G2, and then what can they possibly do? Everything they've done has fallen flat on its face.
So many of their ideas are really nice, but they're not clearing these long-range lines. They don't have the drone of someone like the Tejo. They don't have the Haunt that can reach those long ranges at the very least. It's a difficult line to get your Haunt onto, so sometimes you have to contact in. And well, that one is a long cooldown. Big thing here for them is she's got the Nightfall online now. Operator as well for Akita on the attack side, wanting to challenge Berry X. As this drone's gonna spot Amy. And do they want to crunch into her?
I think they do. Why not? Fault line goes out. Amy tucks on in. Cam's not gonna be able to see anything. Just waiting, but they know that she's there. They've heard the off. They're looking to take the fight. With Amy finding this, however, Berry X suddenly in a very volatile position. A missed shot and a teammate going down. Dish, she falls as well, and suddenly it's all on Marty. Ever's tucked on in, and poor Wen's unsuspecting goes down. Now Nami dancing here on the angle. Ooh, able to cross. No, goes back for seconds and goes down. Marty unaccounted for. Flash goes out there from Mimi, but 1 versus 4. They're hardly worried about her. Spikes turn tail-headed B. Might as well. It's safe and you know where the last is. And they trying to deny this. Now, I'm not going to put it out of the realms of possibility, but I don't think Marty's going to go for this.
Vanya's going to go to her cool lineup spot. No? Oh, I guess she doesn't really need to. They're not really worried about Marty. Play for if she's coming through spawn. But we saw a very nice lineup from this in the previous time we saw them on this map. I think that was their opening game of this stage. And now G2 did win out that round, and they won that out by individuals. Taking the map, taking the space, and giving the confidence to each individual to take those fights. And now Mimi run it back online if she can die or get the kill onto Marty. And she does. Closes out the round, run it back online. Operator picked up back for Akita. G2 is a long road for the comeback. And Gentlemates are down to an eco, I think, by the looks of it. So now they've got to make sure that they can keep together. Don't give G2 these 1v1s and the timeout here. The coach is after that streak around saying, you know what, 1 is enough. They're worried about G2.
I mean, you've always got to, and I think anyone will tell you, even when they're winning, even when they're gentlemates and they currently sit on the EMEA throne, is that G2's always that worry in the back of your mind, is that they always dig deep, the tenacity for them to come back, even when the odds are against them, even when the numbers seem to be against them. I don't blame them for having this worry.
The best and kind of most interesting thing here for me with gentlemates is they've done most of their round successes via that retake. Look at that, 4 retakes in a row.
Yeah, true.
And a big thing for G2 is they relied a lot in their previous games with their old composition on this map. They had Breach, they had Tejo, they had Brimstone. They had all of these post-plant pieces of utility to win out from far away. We see it now, only Vanya really able to do that. And I think that's been a little bit of a detriment for G2. Stopping the retakes without the breach, as much as breach maybe isn't the most powerful agent, is very difficult to do. Barry X going aggressive, taking control of A main. We'll see this an awful lot. We have seen it an awful lot. But G2 don't really mind until the mid round.
Now,
ooh, a little combo piece.
I'm liking the look of it. Waiting to spring the trap shot. They've not heard anything yet. That Prowler, though, that's going to be the call to action. The issue is ever going to get out of the way? Well, mates actually hold their fire. They've been very patient with their util. They've been preserving it for as long as possible.
And Ever used both Prowlers in this as well. That's no more Prowlers. The Nightfall and the Horn. That's all they've got to take this site and to stop the retake from coming in. Mimi's run it back. They're executing.
Oh, Very X. Unsuspecting. And Mimi's pushed up so far as well. Gets both of them and has to run it back as well. Amy finds her pick. Just Toka left here. Smoked on off, picks up the Vandal. Worried that someone's going to push her. I'd argue be more worried about the smoke falling. But no, another one comes down in its place. She's just tucking on in here, hoping somebody peeks her. But her prayer's not likely to be answered just yet.
She dies, she gets a kill, she gets the Armageddon. That's the key thing for her here. Saving is not really super beneficial. She's got the money next round regardless. So, yeah, you're probably going to die to this small... No, wait. How?
Oh, sucking in a breath.
He's going to kill her anyway.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Flawless round, though, from G2. And, you know, I'd love to see the stats on which team has the most flawless rounds, because I'd hazard a guess it was G2. Even on games like this, like, I think it might still be them.
We'll definitely have to take a look into this. Akita, I don't know how you got that shot onto Berry X. An incredible flick, and Mimi with the spray down right at the end of the run it back as it was falling. But we do have another tech pause coming in. Hopefully won't be a long one, same as last time. And this is the perfect chance now to look at both of these teams and look at the ultimates, the toolkits they have available, because there was a lot across the board there.
Yes.
Both of these teams armed to the teeth. And it's going to come down to a bloodbath to get these last couple of rounds for whichever team is going to end up getting it.
I think you're right there. And one round away from that series point is a dangerous position to be in. And I think that, you know, Gentlemates are a team that has so much confidence, and they really sort of build upon that. You see it from the coaches as well, is that the hype is just so internal. And when you're riding high like that, even if you get that one round, G2, yes, they've got the tenacity. They're a team that knows their back's up against the wall and can still continue fighting as if nothing's wrong. Gentlemates, though, a team that when they get on that precipice, they just come alive. They're not one of these teams that really struggles to close out the map.
No, they don't struggle at all in those moments, because when their backs are against the wall, it feels like the energy and the hype that we've seen from them so many times just keeps on coming out. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they've got two coaches. Maybe one of them is focused on that performance, that mental aspect, because it's an incredibly important part of this game. We heard Akita say yesterday, Valorant is a game of confidence.
Yep.
And for G2, now they've started to get a couple more rounds on the board this half. That confidence is going to need to come out, because you know Gentlemates are coming out of this tech pause and they're going to come out strong. I imagine a switch up of pace, something nice and aggressive, even on the defense, to try and surprise G2 and get their own confidence back. If G2 are ready for that, that's going to be such a nice spur for their own confidence going into the rest of this half.
Couldn't agree more on that one. I think that it very much comes down to who's able to take this next round. This is the round to decide the series realistically. And I think that if it does start going the way here of Gentlemates, this is going to be the best result we've seen against them this stage so far. There's a chance that we see that rematch potentially in that grand final. I know that it's going to be in the discussion is that this feels a little bit like the grand final before the grand final in a lot of people's minds. And I'd argue maybe I feel the same. I'd love to see that best of 5 rematch, see what G2 can do now that we saw them take them to a 3rd map previously. If now we've gone from them taking it to a 3rd map to losing, not being able to get double digits on either map, I mean, if you're Gentlemate, surely there's just no one that can stand in your way.
You've got to feel like that at this point. The amount of times teams come back a little bit against them, and Gentlemates are like, okay, cool, sure, we'll give you some rounds for content, and then they just win out the map regardless. It's incredible. But now, this round, Gentlemates, they lose this, they're down to an eco. And G2 will be close to evening this up. So ultimates will be aplenty in this one here. Akita's got the operator online again. As we see, Wen's getting the Cypher set up online. As Akita finds nothing. But yeah, Gentlemates are going aggressive. They found nothing towards Arcade. So they go explore. And they'll hear Mimi's flash. They'll know she's there.
All goes up. Giving the illusion maybe they're a little bit further than they are, but drone goes out. Not going to spot them. Those, they're still being held at bay. At least Mimi is. She's making noise over here, but all distraction for her teammates. And look how far we've already seen Ever able to push it. Unsuspecting right under Nami's nose. It is going to be Amy, however, that gets the pick, but that establishes themselves here, a thorn in their side. Mates, they have the high ground, though, and fighting on in should be a little bit advantageous for them, but
Cage triggered.
we'll have to wait and see, because Akita's already on site. Spike's already getting planted. Amy's holding for Toka here, and Toka just backing away.
Are they going to save? I think they do.
I mean, they've been quite prominently known to save early on. They, you know, 2 kills don't go their way, 3 versus 5. We see them save a fair amount. Yes, they're a very clutch team, but I think one of those things is, you know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Sure, that's probably the key thing. I'm just thinking back to Breeze when we saw so many rounds from Gentlemates on those retakes in the disadvantage situations. And you've got ults online, but no, they want to save them in for round 21. Gonna save it up here, but they didn't force out any of G2's ults either. So they've got them to try and get themselves up to a tied position, because Gentlemates, they lose the next, they're still down to a thrifty for round 22. So round 21 now becomes the next most important round of this map.
I raise you. Is it too soon to call overtime?
I mean, look at G2's money. Even if they lose the next round, they can full buy up Akita with an op if they want, with a spare Vandal in the pocket as well. Like, G2's got everything they need.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. Gentlemates have done themselves no favors with closing this series out. They've allowed G2 to set up a long-term system to get them back into the game. They have that backing. Ooh, Berry X caught out there by the converging cards. And Toka just able to squeeze out of the range of the orbital strike. Berry X tucking back on up here, but this has given Amy the room to push. She's already up along. Finds the first, gets traded on out here. But again, it's this push and pull, this poke. And Gentlemate's attention so distracted by that one player that G2's already on the other side of the map, legging it over towards A. When, why wouldn't you? Ever has A clear. Oh no.
My camera is destroyed.
That's embarrassing. No, you've been watched the whole time, and then Ever getting a pick like that.
Go ahead.
On, out, baiting out the Armageddon. Pulled out very early on there. Vanya swings out and finds hers, and feels a little bit clunky from Gentlemates.
Their teeth will chatter in the cold.
They had an idea. They wanted to go for that retake with the Armageddon to try and secure the site, but I think that was called and there was no cancel afterwards, when there definitely should have been. Ever just had A main on lockdown, and now Gentlemates an eco round. Overdrive online for Berryex. Let's see if she can pull something special out with it, but she's actually got the full shields as well, up against Akita's Outlaw.
I'll find you.
I don't want to see any more Gentlemates eco round ults. Unless you're already in an advantage, because you need to win round 23.
Akita pushing on around slowly but surely. Not alone. Whole team behind her. Camera's going to spot her on out. Wen's, again, always in tower. Dare I say, maybe get a little bit predictable. Goes out, trying to buy the illusion that they're even remotely still nearby. Mates, though, playing in the middle here, so quick rotates either which way.
They're ready for the hard flood over towards A, and it's a difficult one to do. There's a lot of space to cross, and you'll be relying pretty much solely on Barry X and the utility from Marty and from Toka to allow her to get there. But they've called Nami over at the right time. Gentlemates have the right read. Now they just have to try and win this fight.
30 seconds left.
Flash goes on out. Mimi taking space, taking names. Round the corner, run it back's running low, and she's not quite going to be able to spot anything as she fades back to her original position. Missiles make it a little bit uncomfortable for Vanya and Akita here, but still holding on to this choke point. Cage goes out, second cage as well. Nightfall, and it's just stall after stall after stall to stop Gentlemates even looking at sight. Overdrive is popped, again another eco ultia. And hopefully it'll find something. No, sniped out of the round. Marty gets one. Orbital strike comes on through. Akita dashing on forward here, has been spotted. Wen's round the corner. Amy's found one. Toka here, 2 versus 2. Akita with the shorty, finding damage but nothing more, and the tap's been heard, but there's no time remaining. And Marty round the corner, nothing in hand, nothing that she could do. And that's it, 11-11, G2 tie this one on up, and I mean, Echo, your head's in your hands here. Look at the state of the ultimates.
The overdrive, I understand. You want Barry X to have a chance to go into this with that Neon ultimate. Similar to the Tour de Force, you don't dislike using it on an eco, but it's when they invested the orbital strike, They now come into this round, they've got the Rolling Thunder for the retake or for some aggressive play if they want to. But that's it. That's all of their tools. At least for them, it's the same for G2. So it's going to come down to this fight. Oh, nice combo piece, but Akita can get out of there with the refract. Survive to fight over towards B, where Barry X is holding the line. Akita's had the better of her with this op duel so far. Will that continue?
It's going to need to continue. Waiting, patience, always. And the clash of the titans, not just the team, but between Akita and Berry X here. And Berry X wins it on out. Maybe that's the spark that they need to come back into this round, this map. Now attention turns over towards Arcade. Yes, there's a trip, but it's about all there is holding it.
Barry X has left the position, holding down tower instead. Okay, she turns around at the right time. She's now watching back into main. And G2, they're still going for this exec.
Undeterred by the initial loss here.
30 seconds left.
And Berry X, they know they're going to be peeking into this op. But there it is, swing low, aiming for the skies. Wens gets one, but it is a short-lived victory because 2 more kills come flooding in for G2. And Gentlemates, they get the opening pick, but even that's not enough.
Right there.
Unless they can pull something off on this clutch, they can come back. We've seen this kind of thing before on Drees.
It's looking uncomfortable. Eva's position here is going to be everything. She's being caught on out here. Fault lines available. There's the stun on out. Rolling Thunder invested. Here's the footsteps waiting for it. There's the peek on up and the pounce. Marty swings. And finally, Gentlemates break their own curse. Finally, we see them reaching series points. But now, 1 round in what was a drought of hope for them. They need to double down lest we see overtime.
5 in a row for G2 ends here. As Gentlemates, they get the first pick and they manage to stabilize ready for that retake. The Rolling Thunder, absolute perfection from Marty, allows Nami to come up tower.
One enemy remaining.
And for herself to swing in as Vanya stunned, flashed, aftershocked, everything. And wow, the final timeout of regulation comes into the last round of it for G2. I can't believe they've still got one left, to be honest. That is kind of crazy that they've still got it here. But
yeah,
it's all coming down to this. G2, they do have the money for an operator on the attack side if they want it, but Berryx, you know she's going to want it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is going to be a matter of who wants it most here. Is the Angels have been, pretty consistent. If you look across the scoreline and the frags across the board, actually not all too different between the two teams. And the team play, the fundamentals, we've sung it, we've highlighted it here. Ultimates, there's one ultimate available across the two teams. So this is going to be a matter of who wants it most.
Who wins out those fights? Who's confident enough to take them? Akita spoke of confidence yesterday, and she's showing it in spades here. And Gentlemates, confidence abundance. They're pushing, taking this north side by storm, clearing it out, and then rushing back over towards A. G2, do they end up pushing here? They're doubting. They're uncertain.
Really are. Akita over the top, onto site already. There's the first pick, the first 2 dominoes fall, and she gets out of there with 0 consequences for her actions. Berryx missed shot, trying to escape there. So much Utin invested, but she doesn't manage it. And now just Marty, always Marty left alone to try clutch. And the neural theft, well, you might as well use it, but it's salt on the wounds. And here it is, the swing on out, Ever finds it, and we're going to overtime.
A flawless for G2 to finish off regulation. Are we surprised? Not at all. A 12 and 12 is the only place we can leave it there.
Last player standing.
Even if it was a 2-0, it was never going to be a quiet 2-0, was it?
Absolutely not. Both of these teams want to put everything out. They're not going to leave anything left on the table. They're going to be fighting tooth and nail to win it. And it's been very exciting. Both of these teams have brought out so many different ideas. Aggressive strategies, defensive traps. We've seen it all. And now we get to see it again for a couple or more rounds at least. G2 starting on the defense. A main being taken. No surprise there. The Gentlemates looking towards B. Taken out already one of Amy's trips.
I can't help but feel, Gentlemates, they've been losing a lot of their steam, but now they've got to start off on the attack side. Stun goes on in, dash over. Akita's been taking some crazy fights. This time gets punished for it. Not once, but twice the double down. Went out in the open. Still manages to find one, and Toka gets her pick. Leaves us 2 versus 2.
Remaining.
And actually, Amy on the other side of the map finds hers. Just Marty, again, left alone to try and clutch. And they've given her an awful hand to work with. Evan knows exactly where she is. The plus side, she has the spike. She knows she's fighting into Eva, and that Amy was far away here. But the rotate on over, the door's been sprung, and there she is! She's managing to get the gun out in time! A Red Bull clutch in overtime! To give Gentlemates the round they were so desperately vying for. So much in that last quarter of regulation.
This is why this Gentlemates team has so many clutches on it. Another Red Bull clutch for Marty. We are not surprised at all. It looked impossible. Amy, though, a missed shot. She was still moving. And the coaches, we knew we had to see it. The energy, the excitement, they know now. G2 are forced to use their overtime timeout to stop this ending, to stop going down to that lower finals. Because at the end of the day, you want to make it here. You want to make it today. And for G2, that is looking like a big task ahead of them.
A monumental task. But having said that, look at the scoreline that they brought back from. You know, it isn't over till it's over. And G2, we've seen them win out rounds in sometimes the most ludicrous of ways. So it would be not beyond the realms of possibility. And we have seen their attacking side definitely favored, in my opinion, here.
That's the key thing, is the sidedness of both of these teams on this map specifically. Gentlemates attack sided, and actually for G2, they're a 49% win route, 49% on both sides of this map. They're actually negative on both sides. So statistically, Gentlemates favored here, but they've got to try and pull something out. Akita aggression again.
The trip so perfectly placed for her here as well. There's the first goes down. Doesn't even need to back away, wants to keep hold of her position here. Berry X, the flank is quick, and we talked a lot about it in the pre-show, but are they going to be able to catch them out? Yes, Ever goes down. There's 2 more players here. Vanya waiting. 2 versus 1. They should, in fact, have this. They know as well Akita still tucked on up here. Toka finds her pick. The swing on out. Nami takes down Akita. It's all falling apart for G2. Walls go
G2
up.
had
They've got
all
it.
of A side.
And look at the spike. Amy's going to hit
underneath.
this. It is underneath, and Amy's been taken down as well. All of the information to work with. Mimi, a 1 versus 4, or the lower bracket. That's the decision right now. Toka's looking the wrong way, able to get the first here, but unfortunately that's given away her location. Everyone dogpiling her now. Spike's been retrieved.
30 seconds left.
Tucking on in, working her way round, trying to find some way to work here.
She doesn't have time to get to A. She has to go to B, and that's where Gentlemates are waiting.
Exactly where they're waiting. Holding this smoke, and she's got a flash on through it. And she spams away. She doesn't even get to look her enemies in the eye. And Gentlemates crown themselves as our first grand finalists of Stage 2 Game Changers EMEA.
And are we really surprised?
No.
A team like this, they have so many good moments in terms of their macro, their calling, the way they're playing the map.